Welcome to the KOAM News Now virtual presentation of the 2020 United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas campaign kickoff. Proudly sponsored by Southwest Missouri Bank and Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Now here's your host, Jordan Obby.
Hi there everyone, good evening and welcome to the first ever virtual campaign kickoff for the United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas. I'm Jordan Obby. Tonight you're going to hear all about the important work the United Way does in our area. Joining me is Dwayne Driley, the Executive Director of the United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas. Dwayne, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having us. And I listened to your intro, the first ever. I think we say the first ever a lot in these times.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah, this is the first time we've had to, or we've pivoted in a different direction. So you hear that a lot.
We're kind of still getting used to things, aren't we? Normally this would be done with a room full of people, right? But things have changed. We're going to get to some of the uniqueness here in a few seconds. You guys have decided to do this virtually, of course.
That's right. And typically our United Way campaign kickoff, we'll bring anywhere from 150 people to 200 people. And we'll get in a room and we'll talk about the United Way and show our campaign video. And we as a board and staff really thought, we need to be responsible in this environment as well. And is it smart for us to bring our donors and investors and volunteers and put them at risk? And so we really started thinking, how can we do this in a different way? And I have to say, it's really forcing us, and that's not always a bad thing, it's forcing us to look outside of what we normally do. And so we're thrilled to be here and doing our virtual campaign kickoff this year.
Absolutely.
We want to keep our donors healthy, our supporters, and just our communities healthy. And so we want to play that role of making sure that we're doing that.
Absolutely, Dwayne. Hey, to help us set the stage for this evening's presentation and give us an overview of the United Way, we have a video now of the 2020 campaign we'd like to share with you guys.
Now more than ever, we must live united. The past months have presented many unique challenges. Businesses closing, workers losing their jobs, families struggling to meet basic needs. But look closer and you'll see our communities coming together, responding, reaching out to family, friends, and neighbors, feeding those who are hungry, caring for those who need it most, standing united in the face of a crisis.
As always, United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, along with our corporate partners as well as thousands of donors and volunteers, is there, investing every dollar we can in programs that provide vital services to our community. Our partner agencies have stepped up to meet the increasing needs in the community, while at the same time are experiencing a decrease in funding from other sources. That's why now, more than ever, United Way needs your help to ensure those critical programs and services continue.
Every day, people in our community face challenges that are overwhelming. In Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, nearly 1 in 5 families struggle to put food on the table. Students struggle to read at grade level, and youth are more disconnected and at risk of falling behind in school. Many more families are uninsured or underinsured, often with limited access to health care and services that they desperately need.
Now, more than ever, through your annual contribution to United Way, together we will face those challenges that lie ahead and help our community emerge stronger.
With your help, more than 3,000 children will start school ready to succeed thanks to early learning opportunities, to receive after school and mentoring. So at-risk youth have the support they need to stay connected and reach their full potential.
With your help, over 13,000 people will live a healthier lifestyle through increased access to medical, dental, and mental health care, as well as vital safety and support services for individuals and families faced with substance abuse, child abuse, or domestic violence.
With your help, more than 24,000 of our neighbors will get back on their feet in the path to financial stability and long-term independence. They'll have training and literacy programs, as well as access to affordable housing and childcare.
Together, we fight for the education, health, and financial stability of every person, no matter the obstacles, no matter the odds. United, we will face our community's most critical needs.
Now more than ever, we must live united so that kids learn, people get on their feet, teens turn a corner, families thrive, and our community can again flourish.
Now, more than ever, we will fight for those who need a voice and for those whose names we do not know.
Now more than ever, we must come together because there's strength in numbers, and we must support our shared purpose of improving people's lives.
Now more than ever, when you give to United Way, you inspire hope, strengthen the hearts of those who need it most, and literally change lives right here in our community.
It's in these moments that we show who we are as a community. In Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, we are stronger when we live united.
Now, more than ever, your gift to United Way helps keep our community strong, because change doesn't happen alone.
Please give to United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas. Learn more at unitedwaymokan.org. Thank you.
Dwayne, this is such an important day for you guys. Talk about this year's theme and the meaning behind it.
Well, as you can see from the video, the theme for this year is now more than ever, we must live united. And we really started talking about that as a theme, and it touches on a lot of different areas that we work with as United Way. Absolutely our campaign, now more than ever, and we'll kind of talk about the importance of the United Way campaign and the impact that that could potentially have on our agencies. But it also, you know, with everything going on in our nation and in our world, we really just want to encourage people to come together and live united and support our communities. You know, in that video, one of the things, and as I was watching it, I think it's one of my lines that says, but look closer and you'll see our communities coming together. You know, through this crisis, whether the pandemic and the resulting financial crisis, what I see is communities coming together. And I think that's what's really inspiring is how we come together as communities. We talk about now more than ever from the campaign and the importance of our campaign. And this year, I think our campaign is more important than ever because our United Way agencies, and I just did kind of a quick little survey of our agencies, and trying to find out the impact of all of this on their budgets. And through that, with the agencies were emailing, okay, I'm experiencing or I'm expecting X number of dollars lost in my budget this year. And so totaling those up, our agencies, we fund 24 partner agencies. Among those agencies, they will be experiencing more than $1 million of lost revenue.
Wow.
So now when we talk about that lost revenue, where does that lost revenue come from? Well, a couple of different ways. You know, a lot of our agencies rely on special events that they do, whether it be a gala or some kind of an auction or maybe a golf tournament, and they just can't do those. One of our agencies does a big event that raises $70,000 for them. That's a big hit on their budget, not being able to do that special event. Some of our agencies also rely very heavily on what I would call a fee for service. So they provide a service, whether that be through a substance abuse program, as a fee for service, and they get reimbursed from either state grants or federal grants or Medicare or whatever. They're not getting reimbursed for those services, and so that's just lost revenue. Many of our agencies early on just literally had to close down and weren't providing services. So with that $1 million of nonprofit revenue disappearing, United Way is there through our campaign, and why we think this year is more important than ever is we need to be successful in our campaign so we can help bridge the gap of some of those funding shortages of those agencies this year.
This year, more important now than ever. We touched on a little bit earlier the uniqueness of this year. You've already done such an awesome job talking about the needs that are there. Talk more, if you can, about some unique needs that are with you guys here in 2020.
Yeah, and so I talk about that declining revenue, and this comes at a time when our agencies are experiencing probably an increase in demand for their services. And so whether that be, right now, and again, I speak on a weekly basis or even sometimes daily basis with some of these agencies, and what are you seeing? And food banks seem to be maintaining right now. There's lots of food out there and lots of food programs, but where we're starting to see some upticks is people looking for assistance for rental assistance or utility assistance. And so again, we want to be there to provide that assistance through the United Way campaign to those agencies that provide that rental and utility assistance and mortgage help and helping people budget. And so that's really important. Another thing that as I speak with the agencies is, through all of this, we've created a lot of isolationism, and certain populations just don't deal well with that isolation that we've been experiencing now for months. And there's real concern about those that battle with substance abuse. Is this something that we need to be prepared for relapses, and how do we counsel in this new environment? And so investing in agencies so that they can do that remote counseling, and not just a remote, because these are very confidential conversations. I know we've invested in, and Ann will probably talk a little bit, but we've invested some dollars in some new technologies into agencies so that they can provide that counseling in a very secure environment, so that person feels comfortable in coming to them and talking to them about what they are experiencing. And so again, as a United Way, we're trying to find ways, and really kind of a tagline onto our now more than ever. I tell people this is exactly what United Way was built for. United Way was built for responding to crises like we're in now, but how do we also respond when it's just the day-to-day? Because we know that there's day-to-day needs, and that's what the United Way has always been based on, is rallying the community together to come together for a shared purpose of taking care of our friends, families, and neighbors.
Dwayne, thank you.
Yeah.
Stay with us. In a few seconds, we're going to be joined by Ann Kirchen. Bear with us, because in 2020, we're social distancing. Our stage isn't so big, and so we're having to play musical chairs a little bit. Join me now. That's what we have to do. Join me now is Ann Kirchen. Ann is the current United Way Board President. Ann, how has the United Way responded to these changing needs?
Well, I think what has happened is the United Way has tried to identify what those needs are here in the community, and has tried to identify how we can specifically target the COVID needs that have arisen in these times. The United Way started a COVID relief fund, and I'm happy to report has raised over $140,000 that we've used and we're using for just directly COVID relief issues. So I think that's a neat opportunity that our community has helped rally around. You heard Dwayne earlier talk about how it's been the community and how the community has come in and focused to help each other. I mean, those are donations that are small ones, $25, $5, to larger ones, $30,000 and whatnot. So it's really neat to be able to see how we've come together. And then how the community itself and our partner agencies are identifying what some of those needs are. We had our recent board meeting earlier this week, and I know one of the asks was from a local agency that needed more PPE supplies, or the hand sanitizer, and how they were trying to make sure that their environment was safe for the community that they're serving. So it's neat to see those things and to see how we're coming together as a community.
Is there any story that stands out to you in particular I know there's been so many probably, but one story in particular of you guys helping people in the community?
Well, I think the one story that I think, and it makes me chuckle, but is the donation of hand sanitizer. Yeah. We had a community partner who stepped up and donated 2, I believe it was 40 or 50 gallon drums of hand sanitizer. And especially early on in the crisis, we were talking March and April and May, you know, it was so hard to go find hand sanitizer. I remember going to the store and the shelves being bare. So imagine what our partner agencies are needing to be able to still serve that community. And so with the help of one of our partner organizations, they donated those. We were able to alert our partner agencies about this and allow them to come in and fill up their own containers of hand sanitizer and be able to bring them back to their organization so that they could safely serve their communities.
And of course, without your guys' help, it would be much more difficult, if impossible, for these people to get these supplies.
It would be, and it's a cost. You know, it's a cost that they weren't expecting. And as Dwayne spoke about earlier, how so many of them are not able to have their fundraising activities that they normally do, and are really seeing those hits to their bottom line. So anything that we can do to help them meet those needs and those goals, it's just one of those things that we're doing. As I keep coming back to pulling together as a community, but that's really what it is.
And thank you so much. Again, stay with us. We're going to be joined by David here in a few seconds. We are now with David Hogard. David is the United Way Board past president. David, thank you so much for joining us. How are decisions around funding being made?
Sure, Jordan, thanks. Well, we know that Dwayne and Sandy and Ellen, they do a great job representing our Joplin office, and we have Bob in Southeast Kansas, and those and they're the face of the United Way. But funding is solely decided by volunteers. So not only made up from the 19-member board of directors, but we rely on our community investment panels as well.
As you look over these needs that are in the community, what do you think to yourself? Are you surprised? Just what do you think to yourself?
In terms of, now more than, like I would say, now more than ever, it just flows off our tongue in terms of how the need is there, more than ever right now. So at this point in time, we rely on folks to support the community, support the agencies that are in greater need now more than ever.
Perfect. David, thank you. Dwayne is going to join us here one last time in a few seconds. Please stick around. Dwayne, welcome back. We're getting you guys. I'm not getting any exercise. You guys are getting exercise.
We need that exercise. We were just talking about getting our steps in.
You're definitely doing that. Hey, what are some other ways the United Way is helping communities?
Yeah, and so in addition to our funding of the programs and our annual campaign, United Way, 3 pillar areas of education, health, and financial stability. When we talk, and David talked about those community investment panels, they go out and how do we invest in programs that address those 3 situations. But in addition to that, we also do a lot of things to advance causes in those areas. So for example, in education, we have our Little Blue Bookshelf. It's a program where we take new and gently used books, primarily used books, and we take those and we clean them. We want to make sure, especially in this environment, that we're sending out books that have been sanitized. And so we take those used books and we've got volunteers that come into our office and they clean them. They're dedicated volunteers. They disinfect them, they label them, put labels in about the importance of reading to your kids. And then we have about 27 bookshelves located throughout Joplin and Pittsburgh. And we stock those shelves, and in some places, we'll go through 75 books in a month. And we just invite kids to come and take a free book. And really it's about encouraging that reading at a very young age. And we take those books that are from 3rd grade reading level down to just the board books that you can do with your infants, and we place them in those bookshelves throughout the community and say, please take a book and take it home and read to your kids. And so it's a great program, and we try to place those bookshelves places where we know that those people that maybe aren't going to be able to take their kids to Books A Million or a Barnes and Noble and buy them a book on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. And so they're at pediatrician's office, they're at the WIC office, they're at the community health centers, dental clinic, and just places. So we want to make sure that we're addressing those needs with the Little Blue Bookshelf and getting books out in kids' hands. We also do, we have our building bridges. Early on we talked about in our communities, poverty seems to be one of those things, and whether it be generational or situational poverty. And so we have our Building Bridges program where we take individuals that they are, wanting to bridge their own way. And this is a self-help program. This is not a handout program. They want to bridge their own way out of poverty. And they go through an 18-week course. And this isn't your typical, okay, we're going to teach you how to budget, because we know that anybody can learn how to budget. We really take that 18 weeks and we delve into those soft skills. Maybe you can get a job, but you can't keep a job because you don't know how to interact with coworkers, and lots of social skills, lots of building of social capital. Many times people living in poverty, the only other people that they know are other people living in poverty. And so we partner them once they get in with the 18 weeks. They then transition and they have a community ally that maybe is a banker or a principal or a teacher, and they walk along beside them. And so when that person experiences a crisis in their life, they can reach out to somebody that maybe has experienced that and has navigated through that crisis. And so it's a great program. They meet every Thursday, and the really cool thing, they meet every Thursday at St. Paul's. And the first thing they do is they come together and they have a sit-down meal. We have a table set up, and we don't pay for a single meal. We've got great organizations that sponsor a meal all 52 weeks of the year.
Wow. Good fellowship.
And many of us grew up in a household where you sat down and you had your evening dinner and you talked about your day. So we're just kind of building that into these people's lives, and so that's a great program. I also would like to, as far as the service that United Way, and United Way, how is United Way relevant in our communities? We also, through our United Way network, both United Ways of Missouri and United Ways of Kansas, we operate a 211 resource and referral line. And so, real simple, just like you dial 911 in an emergency, you would dial 211 on your cell phone or landline, and you'll be connected to a resource and referral specialist that has a database of services in our community. And so let's say you're experiencing food insecurity. You don't know where to go, and it's 7 o'clock at night, our office is closed, and so you dial 211, and they're going to give you the location of the closest food pantry. A better example, and this is why it's so important, I was in the early stages when we developed it in Kansas when I was with another United Way, and we have it through United Way of St. Louis in Missouri. But it's 24/7 because we know that people in need, it doesn't happen during the day. You know, sometimes it's in the middle of the night, and you know, one of the things that I always try to tell people is maybe somebody finds themselves in a domestic violence situation and they just don't want to go back home. They can call that 211 and they're going to say, okay, first thing they're going to ask you is your zip code. You know, what's your zip code? And they're going to say, okay, you're in Joplin. The domestic violence shelter is Lafayette House, one of our great community partners, one of our partner agencies. They're going to give them the phone number, the address, the intake, and everything so that they can get there. In Pittsburgh, they're going to go Safe House Crisis Center. So they don't have to wait till the next morning to make that call. It's 24/7.
That's awesome. You were mentioning reading earlier, and that perked my ears up in particular because as a parent myself, you understand, you appreciate how reading is important. This next question we were talking about earlier. How can individuals and companies get involved? I was thinking for myself, you know, during previous years, I'll admit, for myself, that was a tough question for me. You know, when I would think about different organizations that I wanted to help, it's a tough question, you know, complex question. How do I get involved? This year, even more so. Because as you and I were talking, priorities have definitely changed. Families are prioritizing things differently. So this 2020 question, how can individuals and companies get involved?
Yeah, and so we have really tried to respond to and make this as much or as little work for a company or an individual as possible. And you know, we rely really heavily on our strong corporate partners that do their employee campaigns. Well, this year, and we're offering employee campaigns and even just campaigns in general in 3 different ways. Maybe there's a company that's always done the traditional campaign and they still feel comfortable with us coming out and showing the video, handing out our rack cards, handing out a paper pledge form. There are other, and so we offer that. Some companies are saying, you know, we did a great campaign last year. How about if we just roll over this year and just continue our giving and allow our employees, if they want to opt out and maybe something's changed in their life, maybe they want to increase it, but so we're kind of a rollover campaign. And then the new thing I talked earlier about how we're it's forcing us to look at things in a different way, and that's not always a bad thing.
Right, yeah.
So this year, we have created a new tool that is fully a virtual campaign. So maybe your company, and you're a small company, small business owner, hey, I've never thought about this, I don't know if I really, we can now create a secure link on our website that will be United Way MOKAN /KOAM. They're going to send that link out to their employees. First thing that's going to come up is probably a welcome video from me or maybe somebody from that company. I'm very much video driven. They're going to get a welcome, thank you for taking the time to hear about United Way. They're going to see the campaign video, and then immediately below that on the web page is a pledge form that they can contribute to, whether it be through payroll deduction. They can take a one-time gift as far as a credit card. They can, a variety of different ways. If they say, hey, I'm just going to write one check and I'm going to send it to the payroll office. So a variety of different ways, but it's all done virtually. And I think that's really important this year, as many of our business partners, you know, many of our banks and some of our schools, they're having employees that are working remotely.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're never going to be in the office to pick up that paper pledge form.
Yeah.
And so we're really looking at how do we provide that out and reach out to some of those new people that say, okay, and I started to say it earlier, in conversations that I've been having with some of our companies and some of just individuals in the community is, and we talked about the isolationism and how people are feeling like, oh, I just haven't had that social interaction. Well, this is, people are saying, this is my way of at least feeling good that I'm having that social interaction. And when I give to United Way, I know that I'm giving to these 24 agencies. Sure. And so it's kind of helps them from that mental state of I still want to do my part in the community, even though I can't get out. You know, a lot of people like to go out and volunteer. They maybe go out to a farmer's market. Well, they just don't feel comfortable, but they still want that interaction. And so we're hearing from people that I want to play a role in the community and do that.
I know this term gets used a lot, but every little bit does help, yeah. Right? Again, yeah. Going to 2020 in particular, some families may be strapped, yeah. And any other year, some families may be strapped, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I always tell people, if you can, whatever you can do, if you can only do $1 a pay period and you get paid weekly, that's $52. And think about this, you along with your 50 other coworkers that do $52 a year, that adds up and it can make a significant difference as we're able to go out and fund those agencies. So yeah, every little bit helps. I mentioned earlier about the, and some of the things that we always hear is, okay, well, I support the agencies, and we want you to support the agencies, but one of the things that's really cool about United Way is it's much more of a holistic approach to addressing community issues. And I talked about those 3 pillar areas of education, health, and financial stability. Just a quick example. So let's say we have a young child that's maybe preschool or 1st or 2nd grade. And so through our education pillar and our funding of programs, maybe it's they go to an after-school program that's funded by United Way. Maybe they go to a preschool program, Family Resource Center, or through some of the work that the Joplin Family Y is doing. So we're addressing the education of that child. That same child that's in 1st or 2nd grade, we also want him to be healthy and live an active lifestyle. So when you give to United Way, that also allows us to fund the Joplin Family Y, the Pittsburgh Family Y, so that kid has activities that he can do. He can be involved in physical activities. So we're addressing that physical piece of it. And let's say that the same 1st or 2nd grader goes home at night, but he goes home at night to a house that maybe doesn't have enough food on the table. We don't want that food insecurity. And so again, through your contribution to United Way, we are able to fund those food pantries and provide that assistance, that family. So this one child has now been impacted by all 3 pillars of United Way. And I think that's the beauty of United Way. I always tell people, and we are United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, which means we cover Jasper, Newton counties on the Missouri side, Crawford, Cherokee, and Labette counties on the Kansas side. We want to be respectful of communities, so money raised in Kansas stays in Kansas, money raised in Missouri stays in Missouri, because we know donors want to give to their local agencies, and that's really important. From the very beginning of the merger, that was really important, that we want those funds to stay local. The beauty of that is that, say, and there's lots of people traveling back and forth across the state line for employment. Maybe, my wife now works at Pittsburgh State University, but we live in Carl Junction. It allows her to designate to maybe something in Missouri that is near and dear to her, so she still has that opportunity. But with all that said, when it comes right down to it, I tell our donors, people looking for help don't see a state line.
Yeah.
If they need help, they're going to go where the help is. And so United Way wants to be there one way or another to provide that service to them.
One other question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
What gives you inspiration and hope? And again, this is one of those questions where I could ask you any other year, but especially during 2020.
You know, when all this started and just looking at, not knowing what to expect. In our office, and I think at board meetings, we said, what's next month going to look like? We haven't had an in-person board meeting for 6 months now, and our board members are like, again, we've got one board member that always says, Dwayne, let's look at risk versus reward. Yeah, I'd love to see you in person, but let's look at the risks. But what gives me inspiration is seeing how the community, not just at United Way, but at all of our partner agencies, through the Chamber of Commerce's, through community organizations, how our communities have come together and really rallied around that shared purpose of taking care of other people. And it's just so inspiring to see. And, we get those calls at our office, but it's so great to get the call at the office that says, early on I had a church that said, our members just keep bringing in food and we don't know where to take it. And at that time, our food pantries were closed. They weren't accepting outside donations. And so this pastor would call me and he'd say, my parishioners just keep bringing me paper products and cleaning supplies and food, and where do I take it? And so as a United Way, I said, bring it to our office.
Bring it over. Yeah.
Bring it to our office, and we're going to figure out where the need is in the community. And again, reaching out to, I think one time Lafayette House was in need of something. We took some to Crosslines, and so in Children's Haven. And so it's just great when those people walk in and say, how can I help?
Yeah. Yeah. Dwayne and David, thank you all for being here. It's been an honor and a pleasure being part of your guys' kickoff. Tonight is just the beginning of the 2020 campaign, right?
That is right.
We're going to leave you tonight with one more look at United Way's campaign video for 2020. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jordan Albee. Have a great evening.
Now more than ever, we must live united. The past months have presented many unique challenges. Businesses closing, workers losing their jobs, families struggling to meet basic needs. But look closer and you'll see our communities coming together, responding, reaching out to family, friends, and neighbors, feeding those who are hungry, caring for those who need it most, standing united in the face of a crisis.
As always, United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, along with our corporate partners as well as thousands of donors and volunteers, is there, investing every dollar we can in programs that provide vital services to our community. Our partner agencies have stepped up to meet the increasing needs in the community, while at the same time are experiencing a decrease in funding from other sources. That's why now, more than ever, United Way needs your help to ensure those critical programs and services continue.
Every day, people in our community face challenges that are overwhelming. In Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, nearly 1 in 5 families struggle to put food on the table. Students struggle to read at grade level, and youth are more disconnected and at risk of falling behind in school. Many more families are uninsured or underinsured, often with limited access to health care and services that they desperately need.
Now, more than ever, through your annual contribution to United Way, together we will face those challenges that lie ahead and help our community emerge stronger.
With your help, more than 3,000 children will start school ready to succeed thanks to early learning opportunities to receive after-school and mentoring. So at-risk youth have the support they need to stay connected and reach their full potential.
With your help, over 13,000 people will live a healthier lifestyle through increased access to medical, dental, and mental health care, as well as vital safety and support services for individuals and families faced with substance abuse, child abuse, or domestic violence.
With your help, more than 24,000 of our neighbors will get back on their feet in the path to financial stability and long-term independence. They'll have training and literacy programs, as well as access to affordable housing and childcare.
Together, we fight for the education, health, and financial stability of every person, no matter the obstacles, no matter the odds. United, we will face our community's most critical needs.
Now, more than ever, we must live united so that kids learn, people get on their feet, teens turn a corner, families thrive, and our community can again flourish.
Now, more than ever, we will fight for those who need a voice and for those whose names we do not know.
Now more than ever, we must come together because there's strength in numbers, and we must support our shared purpose of improving people's lives.
Now more than ever, when you give to United Way, you inspire hope, strengthen the hearts of those who need it most, and literally change lives right here in our community.
It's in these moments that we show who we are as a community. In Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, we are stronger when we live united.
Now, more than ever, your gift to United Way helps keep our community strong, because change doesn't happen alone.
Please give to United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas. Learn more at unitedwaymokan.org. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the 2020 campaign kickoff for the United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas, proudly presented by Southwest Missouri Bank and Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.